Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to everyone present over here. I am Namrata Hari from SRMIC Ramapuram. Hack the Mountains 2.0 welcomes you all for the 21st session of Pivots. It is really nice that all of you have taken off your time to attend this session to learn something new. Let's continue having the spirit for this event and for the upcoming events as well. We welcome you all to another highly exciting session on the topic how to start with the community side of technology Ask Me Anything session with Yashwardhan Agarwal. Yashwardhan Agarwal manages the APAC and EU League at Major League Hacking, one of the biggest and most famous technical communities. His experience in the field makes him more than qualified to guide you through building the community side of technology. If you are one of those people who are intrigued by community side of technology and want to build your own community, this session will totally benefit you. Hack the Mountains team welcomes you, Mr. Yashwardhan. Without further ado, over to you. The stage is all yours to rock.
Thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. Just one thing I wanted to add over here is I was working for Major League Hacking till last week, and I was working with Hack the Mountains very closely. They were the ones I had onboarded, and I had like all the calls with all everyone out here who is like the main organizer. And recently, I have joined Rocket Chat, an open source organization, totally with the aim of being the developer evangelism manager out there, handling all the different things around this particular open source community, helping developers throughout the world to actually contribute and make something totally special in the world of open source. So that was a bit about me. I can go on and talk about the different types of communities and what are the different things we will need to do. But since this is a totally AMA session, I would actually ask you all to make sure you get your questions over here, because I want to answer your questions around anything related to communities, whether you're forming your community, whether you're expanding your community, or anything. Like if you want to get involved inside the community, why you should get involved and how you can grow, anything you want to ask, feel free to ask me here, because this particular session is based on that, right? So first of all, still I'm waiting for a few questions over here. um, I'll just introduce you to the community culture, the community side of things generally, right? So when I was choosing my college, for example, I did not get a lot of great marks in JE. Like I was a decent scorer on the lower side, I'll say mostly. Anyway, so at that point, the major question was whether should I choose a computer science branch in a college. This is which is like totally fine in general terms, but does not have a culture out there of coding or anything, or choose the mechanical side, like what I was getting in a college which had a really good presence in the community. This was a very difficult question at that point for me, but I chose a college which had community things already present, right? They were going for a lot of Google Summer of Code stuff. They had a really nice hackathon culture. They had a great open source like whole club which used to manage different things. They had a whole competitive coding club, right? So I chose that particular college in that case, right? The reason is, even though I am a person who is into mechanical, he particularly can go into these communities, participate in these communities, and actually learn the different skills I want to learn. Right? I graduated as a mechanical engineer, but I've worked throughout in tech. I've been into tech as like any other CS person, because I was involved into these communities. I believe that your college education is more on the theoretical side, and it cannot directly tell you what you want to do. Like it cannot define you if you are going into DevOps, if you're going into maybe JavaScript development or anything else, contributing into open source, participating into hackathons, and all these community events that we have with each other. These are the things that actually make up and grow you to the fact that no other way you can grow. A person who is like constantly learning in terms of what the academics is telling them can be a really good person in terms of going forward in academics, but in the real world they will be lacking a bit, because the actual thing that you need to learn will be coming from the real world experience that the communities offer you. And that's why people here organize great hackathons, right? Hackathons are the major reasons like why you can go ahead and participate in different communities, why you can go ahead and make sure you are learning in the appropriate way, right? So this can be my story of why I think community was a really good idea and why I think communities can help you. But this session is on anything related to the communities, whatever questions you might have. So feel free to ask me any questions. Hack the Mountains team, I know you all here are here as well. So make sure you ask your questions as well. Okay, so I got one question. So I have registered yesterday as a hacker in this community. How to begin this journey? Can you explain about a bit? I'm not so much experienced about hackathons. Okay, so for any community, this is the Hack the Mountains community. So Hack the Mountains people will be telling you the specifics over here, but I can tell you about any community you join. You can join maybe the GitHub community out there. Like there are a lot of different folks that are starting their own community. I guess Eddie Hub is a really good community where people interact with a lot of things. There are open source communities. You can join Rocket Chat as well. I would love that. So there are many communities regularly, and why these communities are formed to actually get a lot of people involved in the things they are actively doing. If I talk about hackathons, every weekend there's a new hackathon. MLS is organizing one. Hackathon Mountains is organizing like next week actually. So there's a hackathon every weekend. When you get into it, you have to introduce yourself the first thing, right? Who are you? What you do? Do not tag anyone out there, do not actually give a notification to anyone, but have some kind of a thing out. Just make your first step, right? Go out there, introduce yourself. I am Sudhanshu Sharma, I do these things, I am more into these kind of technology, I would like to learn this and all. Whatever you want to, just introduce yourself, right? Rest, there are multiple channels where a lot of different conversations are happening. Go ahead and talk there, right? Go ahead and just slam into any of the conversations that there are, and just make sure everyone is like feeling good. You do not have to be very like specific about a specific thing. There, I will say, go ahead, ask questions, go ahead and answer others' questions, do whatever you can do to get involved, right? This is the first thing, the first step about being in a community. As long as you contribute, as long as you, by me contribution I mean, just go ahead and ask questions, that answer others questions and anything, people will recognize you, right? When you are doing that, people will recognize you, people will see you as an active community member, and this way you can actually talk to people, build connections and grow yourself gradually. You can ask questions, as I mentioned before, your questions will be answered. You can strike up random conversations even, right? So in this way you can get involved, and that is like the first step. That is how you can begin your journey, right? When it comes to the hackathon during the weekend, it's easy what you can do over here. Now, first of all, go through the rules of the hackathon, maybe open dev post or anything else that is there. Just make sure you open that. And whatever things are there in terms of the rules, make sure you know that. Now you have to build your own team. If you already have a team, that's great. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and talk to people. I want to have a team, this might be my idea in this sector. If you want to discuss more on the idea, come over, have a personal chat or something, talk to people about it. When you are there, people will form teams. You might get some random people that are totally great in a particular technology, and you will get to learn a lot. If I recall the hackathon experience I had, it was my second hackathon, Hack in the North, Allahabad. So I went there and I had no team because Allahabad or Prayagraj is my hometown right now. And I just got there. I thought, like, let's see what happens over there. And I had no team, and there were three, four all other folks who had no team as well. They were from all over the places in India. They were from Mumbai, they were from Bhubaneswar and whatnot, right? So just go there. I just got there and talked to them. They were very senior. They knew a lot of different things. But I was like in my first year itself, I did not know a lot of different things, right? So I got there. I just talked to them. Let's make a team. Let's do something. And in those 24 hours, I got to learn a lot. literally a lot. I did not know how to make an API request at that point. I was like the fresher who just knew how to write some JavaScript code, some HTML, CSS, and can just go around and play with these things. I got to know how to use GitHub. I did not know that. I got to know how to actually make a particular product end to end in different ways because they were the ones who were doing it, right? So if you go around with random people, you will get to learn so much. You cannot even think about it in uh, like generally, I'll say, right? And that's the benefit of a community. You get to interact with so many people all over the world. Okay, there's another question actually. What are the skills we need to participate? Um, it depends. So here, first of all, if you are joining a community, you do not need to know anything previously. You have to join in and understand. For example, let me take my experience, the current experience. Okay, I've been talking for a lot of time. Let me drink some water real quick. Okay, so I've recently joined Rocket Chat, and I don't know a lot about the code base. The code base is in Electron and React Native, and the code is written in pure JavaScript actually. And I'm okay with a JavaScript, but I don't know anything about whatever is going on right now. What I'll do, I'll go ahead and talk to people. It's a company, it's a community, whatever it is, you have to go ahead and talk to people who already know different things. You have to be very respectful because they are dedicating their time, right? They are taking some time of theirs to actually help you out. So you have to be very respectful there, right? But you have to go ahead and talk to them and try to ask specific questions. How does this thing work? What particular thing works, right? If you ask like random questions like that, how should I get started, they will actually make sure to point you out to a documentation generally. But how do I get started, there might be a lot of different documentations you can already refer to, right? If it is a hackathon, go ahead and read the rules. That's the first thing. I mentioned it previously as well. Just go there and read the rules first. After that, it's just about going out, talking to people. If you're stuck, just make sure ask your questions. If you are contributing into some place, make sure you raise issues, open pull requests or anything like that, or anything you want generally. If you want to make a team, ask people about that. If you want to have something else like build a product, read the rules and accordingly make a product during the whole time and submit it accordingly, whatever the timelines are mentioned for the hackathon. And that are the things you need to do. If you have any questions, make sure to ask it like a follow-up question over there. I will be happy to answer. Coming to the next questions, actually. Okay. Actually, my studio is asking any other question. Yeah. Okay. So this particular question is okay. My studies is the one, not my studio. Sorry. This particular question is more targeted towards Hack the Mountains folks, but in terms of judging criteria, I'll tell you about how hackathons are generally judged. I've judged a lot of hackathons, so I can say that. All people see first of all how innovative your project is. See, there might be multiple criteria, how the design is, how the technology is, but first thing that catches eye is how innovative your project is. What are you thinking out of the box and implementing here, right? If you're making something that is already existing and it won't have a major like impact on people, right? If you're just making a small website with like business things around there, it won't make an impact on people. If you are making something maybe technology related in the sense like, let me think about some idea over here. If you are making some IoT tool, let's see, I was thinking of an IoT tool recently, a small tool like this which will move here, move your curtains like that, move here, move your curtains here. So open and closing curtains with just a small device that actually rotates on your rod. So this is something innovative, right? This is not something that is existing out there in the very open. This is very, very different. If your idea is different, if your idea is innovative, it will definitely catch anyone's eye. Go through the different like themes and tracks, whatever the hackathon has, try to find out what are the things they are looking for. Everything is mentioned there in terms of themes and tracks itself. If you're opting for open innovation, that's great. That's totally fine as well. And just make something totally out of the league. Technology matters, but that's like the second or third thing. Design matters, again, the second or third thing. The first thing that attracts anyone is your idea, is what you have actually thought about while making this app, right? So this is basically that. Okay. How well do Android developers fit into hackathons? I have this notion that web apps are in boom in the hackathons and barely know anything about web development. Okay. So actually, Android things are a lot common in hackathons. I should say actually the most common hacks are IoT based hacks only at hackathons, and those are the hacks that actually get the lot of prizes because those can be very innovative. If I talk about web development, it's the most easiest thing generally for a hackathon because you can write a quick code out there and you can execute it. In terms of writing a web app, it's like faster in general, I'll say, and that's why it's very common. But if I talk about Android, I made an Android app in my second hackathon. So it's totally fine. Again, your idea is the main thing. You have a working prototype. You just have to record the video showing it off how it works, how it does not work. And if you are good at that, you do not need to think about anything else. Why should I make a web app when I'm an Android developer? Just go ahead and make an Android app. Be innovative in what you are making. Be nice in presenting that, and you'll be good to go. Okay, cool. If you have a follow-up question, I would love to answer that. Coming to the next question, actually. Okay. If we take inspiration from someone else's project and make during the hackathon, would it be disqualified? So I don't know about Hack the Mountain specifically, right? Taking inspiration and building a new project over that, it's fine. But if you are like making something that is already there and just maybe copying the code in sense, it is kind of considered as cheating with all the MLH hackathons that we have worked with. So in that case, you will be disqualified. But taking inspiration is fine. Like it is pretty normal, right? For example, if I say Zomato started the food delivery while taking inspiration from Swiggy. If I say Flipkart started by taking inspiration from Amazon, so in the legal sense as well, it's fine. So why in hackathons will it be like a big problem? Inspiration is totally fine. The problem is always around copying something which might be very like generally bad for anyone, right? So not copying, that will be disqualified. If you are just taking inspiration, making your own thing, that's totally fine as well. Okay, coming to the next question, that is, can we participate solo in hackathon, like if we could win the first prize solo? Okay, again, Hack the Mountains will have its own rules. You have to check their like dev folio, I guess they are using, right? You have to check their folio, and there whatever the rules are, you can participate solo or not, it will be written. In case for any hackathon, it's fine if you want to participate solo. If you are just into winning prizes, that's fine, but I won't recommend that. See, hackathons are not for winning. Hackathons are for learning, right? This is not something that will earn you a lot. It's not like a startup battlefield or something that will give you some kind of a seed funding that's huge, right? It's a small prize, maybe 20-30,000 rupees or something, which will just be something you will earn and you'll be happy for like a month or two maximum. It's everything about learning. If you can go ahead, make a team, like I mentioned, my second team got me into the world of open source, actually. Second hackathon, that way actually I learned so much that I have actually built a career around that, right? So go ahead and talk to people, make a team that can actually stand out and from people you can actually learn from, right? Okay, next question. Nishant asks how to get into an open source project. Okay, it's actually a long thing. I'll talk to you about this. Okay, so if I'm talking about any kind of open source project, most of the things are at GitHub, right? Most of the code bases are hosted in GitHub. If you have a particular open source project you are already using, maybe you're using VLC Media Player, that's a really good open source project. If you're using maybe Rocket Chat, that's a good product in terms, but these are complicated ones, right? They have a very big open source community out there, and the developers are like, it might be overwhelming at first for you. So start off a bit smaller. Okay, I know JavaScript. What I'll do is I'll Google search JavaScript GitHub projects, something like that. There will be a ton of projects that will come over. You're interested in a particular technology inside of JavaScript. Maybe React is something you learned. React Native is something you learned. Go ahead, write down open source React Native projects, open source React projects, or something. You will get a list of projects. The better way to start off might be going into the Google Summer of Code archive, because that those projects are meant for students generally, right? Go ahead and see what are the different projects that are already existing and what are the roadmaps they're taking forward there. If you want to start with open source as well, there are multiple communities I know of, like for example Eddie Hub is there, Code for Cause is there. They are starting their own open source projects as well, small open source projects that can actually take you long way. And you'll get a sense of how you need to contribute into it. Maybe start your own project and open sources first, like any random project you have built, anything. Like I built a small application just for the sake of building something. I open source it. I'll just write a nice documentation of how it works, how it should not work, and stuff like that. I recently open sourced my website, so in that case, I just added all the different things what I wanted to. Like all the documentations were clearly written, and according to the documentations, I got more people interested in it. Similarly, when you have chosen your open source project here, now the major thing is getting involved with the community. So it will be similar how I mentioned previously about how you get involved, how you introduce yourself, and stuff like that. And okay, so let's figure out few steps. If it is on GitHub, try to find out the chat link. It might have like a Discord chat, a Gitter chat. They might have IRC or something like that set up, Slack, if there is. If there's not, there might be some kind of a community forum. Is there a community forum? Maybe Discourse or something. There might be some kind of a community forum for larger projects. There is generally. Okay, that is also not there, or you cannot find it at that point. There should be the GitHub issues. GitHub issues and GitHub pull request actually house the whole thing, right? Getting into chat and talking to people is the easiest way. There, people are very interested in helping you out. But if you're looking through issues, it might be something you have to install that project, figure out how it works. Maybe you're facing an issue. Maybe you are thinking about contributing into something. Just write down that issue, search in the issues if it's already present. If it is present, write down you're facing the same thing, can I fix it? If you can fix it, definitely write down I would love to fix it or something. And maybe an open source maintainer will come over and tell you, okay, perfect, if you got this, I'll assign you this particular issue, and you can go ahead, submit your pull request, and that's how you make your contribution. You're not that technical. Now what you need to do, you might have figured out some kind of a spelling mistake in the documentation. Maybe go ahead and make your first contribution as that spelling mistake fixed in the documentation. You have made your first commit, right? However small it is, if you start small, you can go a very long way. So it's not just about getting into an open source project, like contributing heavily into it. It's just about making those small steps. It's about randomly going around all those different projects and contributing small thing. When you are doing that, you will be going a long way out there. So that's how starting small, anything you can do, just go ahead and do something. That's the major thing. Okay, so yeah, Hack the Mountains has replied that you can be a part of a solo team and when to. Okay, so next question I'll take. Are there any problem statements given? Okay, so okay, talking about problem statements a bit. I'll not say you should be relying on the problem statements. For example, many hackathons have like very specific problem statements. You have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Just that. Maybe they want like you to build a specific app that maybe their sponsors want or anything like that. Right? It's not great for you in general if you are building something that is just written out there. It's better for you to think about during the weekend. It's not your job in the sense, right? In the job you are told you need to do this. It's not your job, it's your own product. You have to be innovative around it. You have to distinguish yourself from the rest of the people that are participating, right? So generally look for themes, not for problem statements. That's the main thing. If you are looking for a theme, the theme is maybe build something in the food tech space area, build something in IoT or in e-commerce area. Like social e-commerce is one of the major things that is booming right now as well. So there could be something like this, right? Just think about your own idea. If I talk about my first hackathon project, it was in terms of technology, it was very like very bad. It was just HTML, CSS, and a bunch of bad JavaScript code all meant together to function in a way. How what it was an addressing system. And actually I won my first hackathon defeating my seniors even, so that's a very good story actually. So there, I just got in the hackathon. I did not know what to do, what actually is a hackathon. I thought it was around hacking as well, but it was not. I realized later on. So I got there, and the first thing I did was I talked to different people. What are the different things they are building, how they are building, and stuff like that. And then I got an idea. Why should I not build something like an addressing system, which was on my mind for a long time? Like spun up a small website and everything out there, and started writing JavaScript code on the basis of the Google Maps API. I use the Google Maps API. I spun it all around how I need to make an addressing system, and at the end, I had a product in which whatever place you are in around the world, you'll get a 8-digit code that will be signifying your location. So it's like a global pin code thing that I built over there. Not functioning totally perfectly because obviously the algorithm was total finicky, but it did work. And the idea was totally different, right? Nobody thinks about like a global like system of just pin codes. Like it was accurate to 10 meters, and I every single like house in that way is mapped through a different code. So like that was a major thing I was seeing. Like when at that point Google Maps was not that accurate, it is sometimes not accurate now as well. So in this way I could search for anybody's address using those particular like codes itself. So that was very easy in that terms. So think about very different stuff. As long as you're being innovative, it is helping you. Cool. Coming to the next question here. How to develop an idea during the hackathon, right? So if I talk about an idea, it can be something that is very like that has been on your mind for a long time. You want to build something, like you always get some kind of ideas around. If you are seeing an application, okay, this would have been a nice addition into it, right? If you are just doing some kind of task, oh no, this is a problem I'm facing, I need to address this. In terms of every startup as well, in terms of every idea that makes a long way, it's around solving a problem. Any kind of a startup or a business or anything solves problem for general people, and most often than not, it is for the people who have built the thing that they have faced that kind of a problem. So take out any general problem you're facing, any problem, whatever you think. If it is particular theme, think about an idea or a problem that you're facing around that particular theme, right? If you do not want to do that, open innovation is always there. Think about that, and think about how you can solve that using technology. Now when you have got that, maybe like don't think about the tech stuff right now in the sense will you be able to implement it or not? That's a later question. The first thing is, there's a problem. What can be a potential solution? You have that potential solution with you right now. Write down the ways you can actually different. There cannot be just one potential solution. There can be 100 potential solutions for just one problem. Write down the different things that can be done. Now, Google search it. What is existing? What is not existing? Okay, this thing is existing. Can I integrate this into my application? Okay, so this way this is sorted. So go through all the different things. Brainstorm for 1 2 hours or something. And when you have done that, you have kind of figured out your idea. You have kind of figured out what you need to do during the hackathon. Okay, cool. Okay, any other questions? Okay, what about swags? That's a really good question actually. So it's an MLH hackathon. So you'll get swags at your doorsteps if you go ahead and register for the hackathon. Sorry, check in into the hackathon, right? And there will be a swag form shared. So you'll get MLH hackathons and MLH swags in that way. Hack the Mountains might have their own swags on the way how you participate inside of the hackathon. There will be swags from, I guess, sponsors as well on the way you interact with them. So go ahead, talk to different people, be involved, try to contribute. And it's not just about this hackathon. If you contribute into communities in general, swags is the most common thing you can say. Like all these GitHub swags and everything that I've got is from different places. I've been randomly contributing at those times. Like I had so many stickers at one point. Wow, I cannot even remember. Like I had like 2 or 3 bags full of stickers, like really big bags full of stickers at that point. I remember, and that is was all because I was contributing into different places. People want you to be contributing. People want you to be like getting involved with their community, and that's why they have so many different things out there. Cool. Next one, do we make the project before and submit within the time frame of 36 hours? Actually, not. A hackathon means you can have the idea before, but whatever you are doing should be done in those 24, 36 hours. Here, in this case, 36 hours. So you have to make the project itself in the 36 hours. That is specifically for Hack the Mountains, I guess, as well. But you can think about the idea. If you have a project and you want to build over that, make sure to like tell people that this is the particular functionality you have built in this 36 hours. You have to be very specific. If there are older commits, you might be like rejected as well, like disqualified in general terms as well. So everything needs to be done during those 36 hours because everyone wants you to be there, to be presenting. Or maybe it's an online hackathon, right? Anybody can put in their own project and will be like, okay, I won the hackathon. And this, no, this is the wrong way of doing it, because what about the people who are contributing at that point, right? So think about that and make sure you submit within, make and submit within those 36 hours. Okay, so how to submit the final project? So again, this is specific Hike the Mountains questions. I guess they're using Devfolio. So in terms, you'll be using the Devfolio platform to submit everything. You will be given time like to submit the project initially. In terms, just write down the description, name and everything, give the GitHub repository link or anything like that. Whatever you want to tell about it, tell about that in those time. And finally, when the final submission time is there, make sure to record a 2 to 3 minute video explaining what you have done in that particular hack, right? What you have made. That don't go for presentations, don't go for anything like a presentation. Have the live demo, have like a earphone and anything over there, speak. This is what I've done, this is how it works, this was the problem I was facing, this is the solution of it. Just that, just 2 to 3 minutes, and that's it. If you do that, you'll go to go. Okay, next question is from Vidya. um can someone put that? Yeah, oh, perfect, perfect, cool. So how can you join any community? Where to find the best community that suits you? Okay, that's a really interesting question actually. So the first thing is finding a community, right? You cannot know what community will resonate with you. I had joined a ton of communities at one point, and the community that resonated with me was the GitHub community. I did not know that. I had no idea about it. So I tried applying. Actually, it's the same for the jobs as well. When I was job hunting, I was applying in many companies when I was just out of college. Later on, I got to know what I like and specifically applied for that. But when I was just in college, I applied at many places. I got selected at many places as well. But then I chose according to what my interests were. Similarly, in communities, they can be closed communities and open communities both, right? In terms of closed communities, you can just go ahead and like talk about your previous experience, what you have done, what you're not done. For example, GitHub Campus Experts, Microsoft Student Partners, and all those highlighted communities out there from companies. Google Student, I guess, like Campus something, I don't exactly remember. Whatever, DSC, yeah, Developer Student Clubs. So those different things, you can just, those are places you need to apply. You need to tell your previous knowledge and how you share with your community. And those programs are around like expanding your personal community, your own college community out there, right? So those are in that terms. If you're joining any external community, go ahead and search for it. Basically, they can be around technology, they can be around just contributing into open source, they can be around even sports. Like football has a really good community out there. There are really good communities out there. If you just find out, go ahead and just, if it's an open community, just join their channels. Open source have really good communities. I would actually recommend every one of you to search for open source communities and join in, because that is how I have learned in my life, right? So just go ahead and join those open communities, introduce yourself, talk to people. If it resonates with you, that's totally fine. If it does not, just leave the community or be an inactive member. That's totally fine. They will try to get you back as well. Communities are very like look like very pushy in terms of looking for members who are contributing into it. So just go ahead and talk to people. If it resonates with you, that's good. If not, you can move on and find something else. As simple as that. Okay. Which is better? A, learning a particular technology and continuously building projects, contributing to open source, learning various technologies simultaneously while building and contributing in all. Okay, so this is a very good question. Okay, so you can be a person who knows a lot of different things, like a jack of all trades, or you can be a master of a specific thing. So you can be like, I forgot the exact terms what we used to say about these people, but like generalist and specialist. Yeah, I got that. Okay, you can be a generalist or you can be a specialist. Totally fine. You can be anyone, whatever you like. The major thing here is, if you are a specialist in a particular technology, your worth on that particular technology will be very high, right? I was at one point, definitely not right now, it's been a while, specialist in React Native. I learned it quite a lot. And if you are looking for jobs generally as well, there's actually one thing you need to specialize on. You need to at least know 70% of it, at least 70%, because if you know like 20-30% of a lot of different things, it will be something you do not know much deeper about. You do not know how to dig deeper into a particular language as well, because you have not followed the process. That's the major thing. I know Python, I know JavaScript, I know Java, I know like PHP, I know multiple languages. But those are all, what should I say, like object oriented languages, and the concepts are very similar. Now I know machine learning a bit, I know IoT a bit, I know all other things, whatever it is, a bit. But when I am getting into a particular role, the role will ask me to implement something specific. It might be a DevOps role that is asking me for like building out different Docker libraries or anything out there. But I just know all the different things over the top. It would be difficult for me, right? So the The way I follow is try to find out different things. uh, like definitely experiment with different things. There's a really nice stream I had with the within the campus devil show, being a polymath developer, right? So if I talk about a polymath developer, they know a lot of different things around different stuff, what is going on, and how are the different ways people are doing different things. But the major thing is they have something that they know as well. They have dug deep into something specifically. So if you have time, go ahead and explore different things. If you like something, try to explore it deeply. If you get bored, that's totally fine. Get into something else and try to explore it deeply. But get your basics right first. It's not recommended to go directly into machine learning and saying I'm a machine learning engineer while you're not even clearing out the basics of Python at the moment, right? You can know all the things about machine learning, but you need to know about the basics of what language you're using. You may be using JavaScript. I use JavaScript for machine learning, TensorFlow.js at the moment, at some point, actually 1.5 years ago. But before that, I had deeply explored JavaScript, right? So before diving into high level technologies and that actually be very flashy for everyone, try to dig into the basics, because what you'll be asked in interviews will be the basics. And that is a major thing you need to learn about. Okay. How to work along with new teammates efficiently. Oh, nice. Cool. So it's a very like job oriented question as well. Like how do you interviews ask a lot of times, how do you work in remote companies? How would you like to do that? So the first thing is be respectful. Be respectful of their time as well as what they are and where they're coming from. You have no idea from where they're coming from, they might be going through at a particular time, right? Do not be like, hey, just hi, and waiting for their reply. That would not be fruitful, right? They will be writing a reply to you and waiting what you want to ask. Write down the whole thing, right? I'm facing this, and just go ahead. So in this way, you're saving yourself some time as well as theirs. So in this way, you can work remotely really nicely. But if I talk about generally working with teammates, just make sure you have particular goals set, right? Uh, make when you are talking with them about joining a team, about making a team, have a brainstorming session. Like ask them to contribute these many hours first of all, and have a proper brainstorming session. And when you have had that brainstorming session, you set the deadlines. Okay, by this time we need to do this, by this time we need to do this, and so on. Okay, now you can check along at those particular deadlines who has done this part. Okay, don't be like, oh, you have not done this part, you are not no good for anything. They might have faced something you do not know. They can be explanations. Be empathetic for everyone, right? Go ahead. Okay, these are the problems you're facing, I understand, no problem. Okay, you could not do it, that's no problem, we'll figure out. Work as a team, not as individuals at that point. Go around, talk to people nicely, and finally in the deadlines you can check and make efficient ways of moving forward. If you want to work together, there's always Discord voice chats, and hang out with the team randomly, talk random things, do some community building stuff, like just talking random stuff, literally random stuff. How you make friends, try to make friends with them first, and that's how you work efficiently with new teammates. Okay. Is it compulsory to have the project integrated with Git or any other version control system? Okay. So, in terms of the hackathon, again, like there will be specific rules, but I don't think so. They'll have that rule that you need to have, that you need to use Git or any version control system. But I would recommend you to do so. Why? Because any software in the world that is ever made is made using a version control system. And even when I'm making a small website, I am the first thing I'm doing is make a Git repository, maybe a private one. That's totally fine. But I make a Git repository. Why? Because I need to have everything first of all backed up into the cloud in the perfect way. The whole code should be there, right? Second, if my system crashes, it would be like I've missed around everything. The second thing is I'm getting into a really good habit here, because anything that is done in the world of making software, it is done using some kind of version control, because multiple people are working together. If multiple people work together, they need to know about each and everything that is going on for all the different teammates, right? So version control system is the best practice to use whenever you are building any kind of software. Okay. I've seen so many projects on GitHub have so many pull requests pending to be merged since months. So that demotivates me to find and work on an issue. What is the right approach? Okay, that's very good question. That is something a lot of like communities face around the world. Open source communities are very specific about that. Like for example, I'm right now seeing around 2000 issues on Rocket Chat, and I'm like, oh no, there's 2000 issues. How will I go around with that? People have opened up issue for literally everything, and there will be a lot of PRs as well. And think about, like, if I talk about the maintainer at that point, they would be very it would be very difficult for them to go through, right? So it makes sense that actually is something that motivates a lot of people. So understanding the goal of the community at that point is important. You have made a PR. Okay, that's fine. Maybe that bug you have fixed is not exactly the community is looking to fix right now. They have other approaches, and if you just fix that particular bug, it might break something else much higher that you have no idea about, right? Or it's just like it's not the priority right now. You have maybe built a small system inside of it. They want something else altogether. So again, it's not a priority. So you need to understand the priority of what that community needs. How do you know that? Go ahead and chat. Chat with everyone out there in the community. So while in open source, like there are multiple pull requests that are not merged, it also signifies how active the people are to the community. If you're just starting off, I would recommend you to go for a community that is highly active, because you're just learning and you need to participate and understand. So highly active communities can be anyone you can find out. The Google Summer of Code archive is the best place, because those are very highly active communities. Maybe go for False Asia, go for something like what should I say? Like there's so many communities. Cloud Native Foundation, go for the Linux Foundation. So many communities out there, and these are very active communities. Aussie is a very active community as well. So go there. Those are active communities. Maybe the issues are still pending. Maybe the pull requests are still pending, but they have active channels where people talk. If you know what people are talking about, it's easy for you to navigate around, right? So it's very easy in general terms for you to go around, ask questions, and know if you are doing the right approach and following the right thing. Perfect.
That is really an interactive session going on, Mr. Yashvardhan. Right
Mhm.
now, Manav Bansal is, who's currently a hack ambassador with HTM from IP University,
Mhm.
would like to ask you some interesting questions.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Uh, I was also watching the session at the backstage, and I was like literally overwhelmed with the questions that you were getting, and I really liked your setup also, the stickers that
Thank
you
you
have
for
sticked
that.
on the curtains.
Yeah,
So,
actually, yeah, go on, please.
so basically, I wanted to ask, like, most of the questions were answered regarding the hackathons and the community thing. But
Mhm.
regarding the MLH, there are
Mhm.
many such events other than the hackathons, like MLH in it and the local hack days, which is the students or the folks out in the community are unaware of. So, can you like
Mhm.
give some light on that? That what are these events like MLH in it and
Mhm.
local hack days?
Right, sure. I can definitely give some kind of over the top stuff what I
Yeah,
knew,
yeah.
because I was not directly participating in a lot of different conversations before leaving. So I can give you an overview. So if I talk about MLH has obviously the League of Hackathons. You are part of the League of the Hackathons, the Hack the Mountains specifically. So these are multiple hackathons happening worldwide. And this is what I was managing as well, talking to different organizers and getting the high quality hackathons around the world into a particular league. It's like IPL league, right? So IPL are hackathons and people participate, people win prizes and all those sort of stuff. And it's like a quality, like a symbol that this will be a good hackathon. It's an MLH hackathon, right? So these are the League of Hackathons. The other product that is there is obviously Local Hack Day. Local Hack Day has been rebranded recently, and in it is one of the new rebranded stuff that they are doing. Inside of Local Hack Day, it started very differently, but when COVID came over, it became a very different thing. So you have something called guilds. Guilds are communities that you make for yourself. Those can be a meme community like Blahaj, or like you. I'm just talking about different communities because they are already existing, or they can be around a particular initiative. Like Eddie Hub is one. There's one thing, a developer student community that has been really active as well. And those communities are just around anything. What is a guild is like 4 or 5 people just making a small group, and that's how it starts. So that's how a community is starting. So those are guilds. You participate in guilds, you earn points and all sorts of different things you do there. And so inside of Local Hack Day, there will be in it there will be small challenges you need to do around maybe a particular technology, making your first open source contribution, or anything. There will be a ton of challenges out there, and you need to figure out how you need to navigate around those challenges. And for every challenge, you win some points. So this is basically in it. And Local Hack Days, the other products are our full first party hackathons that we call them. But actually, those are MLH organized hackathons that happen every weekend. So every weekend inside of the MLH Discord, there are hackathons happening, and you can feel free to participate inside of that. Those have similar experiences at the League hackathons, but League hackathons like Hack the Mountains are a bigger because you have external sponsors as well. These are just MLH directly organized hackathons. Okay, so other than that, there's obviously MLH Fellowship, which is a long-term thing, which is something, if I talk about it, it's like similar to Google Summer of Code in essence, where you get into the fellowship. There's a high bar of getting into the fellowship, and then when you get into it, you contribute it to open source projects, or maybe build your own project, or there's something called product engineering thing as well, where you actually work with the Facebook team in terms of the product engineering roles and different stuff. So those are like all together different things. Uh, and what else? I didn't think so. Anything like League, Local Hackney or anything. Okay, yeah, Local Host. It's like workshops available for free, and you can like host it on like for your own channel or anything. And there are different things that are there in terms of Local Host. But in the last month that I was like not very active, there might be a lot of different developments. So something who is working full time for MLH, you should ask for them, or any of the coaches at MLH as well. I might not be the best person to answer that, but these are the over the top things that we were doing while I was there.
Yeah, I like literally. I wanted to. It would be my first in it in July, June. They are like
Mhm.
you are having a in it, and I would be like really grateful
Hey,
that if I get some experience in that.
yeah,
And
definitely
the
you can go
second
ahead.
thing,
Mhm, go
yeah,
ahead.
and the second thing I wanted to ask that many of the folks and the students out there, they still feel that in the hackathons they should be like we should be a hardcore programmer and we should have a lot of skills in that.
Mhm.
So how can we like the rumor that is felt in the students, the fear that is felt in the students about the hackathons? How can we as a like mentor can make them like
Right.
disconnected with
I,
them?
right. I get your question over there. I I understand that because when I was in my first hackathon, I did not know anything, as I mentioned before. But then, too, fortunately, I won, right? So you should talk about that. It's not about how much you know. It's about how much you're willing to contribute in these 36 hours, right? In general life as well, if I say, like, people who do not know a lot but are actually passionate about a particular thing and they actually do it really good, they will be winning. It's the same thing about hackathons. So you need to talk to them on a mental level. It's not just about, like, because fear of missing out is for everyone, so they would want to contribute. So if you can tell them all different things about how you can grow, they will be definitely into it. But there is a great sense of, I forgot the term there, like, imposter syndrome. Yeah. So the great sense of imposter syndrome in everyone out there as well, because they think they are imposters. They do not know anything and they are just here randomly. That's totally fine. Everybody out there does not know everything. Just go ahead, talk to them that it's totally fine. What if you lose? You have not, like, you'll not get some kind of a prize, right? But you'll still get swags. Go ahead and, like, just participate. You'll still get swags. That's a major thing, right? You want swags, you'll get that. So, and if you go through 4 hackathons, maybe in the fourth hackathon you'll know so much that you will win a prize as well in that terms. And this happens in every kind of job as well. So if you are talking about anything to them, you tell them that you'll face the same thing inside of a job. Because if you are looking for a promotion in terms, you need to know about different things, but you do not. And when you get that promotion, you are like in a bit of a pit. Oh no, what should I do right now? I have to learn so many different things. But what happens when you get a promotion, your manager understands, like, okay, you need to learn. There will be a learning curve out there and you need to properly communicate that as well. And similarly it is in hackathons as well. You're basically, oh sorry, I got a phone out there. Okay, no problem. So yeah, you are basically acting some kind of mentors, managers out there who understand what they're going through. Talk to them about it. Just talk to people. If you are talking to a human like a human, it can go very, very long way. So just do that.
Yeah, I agree to the point that because in the, like you said, after 4 to 5 hackathons, you be like winning prizes. And in my recent hackathon, I won the best use of Linode. It
Nice.
was, and I was like, it was my sixth to seventh hackathon, I think.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Else,
And
I would
Linode
be
might
like,
be something you might not have explored previously, right? You might have
no,
explored just during the
no,
hackathon.
yeah,
Right.
just during the
That's
hackathon, I
amazing
explored.
thing. You got to know,
My
learn
team
a new
like
thing.
my team was like using Linode, so I explored that and we won the best
Perfect.
use.
So that is a major thing you need to look about.
Thank you. That was really nice. Like we got so many questions, and I'm sure
Hmm.
our audience are like enjoying listening to all your tips, and they gained some insightful knowledge today. Okay,
Yeah.
I guess we are running short on time. So
Hmm.
thank you, Yashvardhan sir, for taking your time off your busy schedule for being with us here today. It was really amazing to hear out all the knowledge you had for us during for the session. Also, thank you, Manav,
Yeah.
and the wonderful audience for asking awesome questions and making this Ask Me Anything session more fun and interactive. Really,
Right.
thank you. Uh, Before we sign
Yeah.
off, I would like to mention that the feedback form link has been posted. So do fill it out soon so that you are eligible to grab your Hack the Mountains participation certificate. Yeah. Anything you want to say?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, Mohit.
So
Sorry
one
for
thing,
interrupting you
sorry,
out there.
sorry. One thing
Yeah.
I want to mention at the last, if you have any question regarding the hackathon, especially I see there is a lot of many questions regarding our hackathon. We are organizing a Instagram live and next week, and also we are organizing a HTM Connect in our Discord server in the upcoming days, so people can join there and can get their all the answers during the Hack the Mountain there. Definitely, we are doing so that as well. Yeah, just over to you.
Yeah, sure. So it has been a wonderful session for sure. The community was really interactive. I really loved that. And if you have any other questions, I'm available on Twitter. Make sure to just ask me anything out there as well. It's like always an EMA on my Twitter. If I might be a bit slow to respond, sorry for that. Like I have limited time out there, but I'll definitely make sure to respond to your questions. So if you have anything, feel free to reach me out there. And that is basically it, I guess. Thanks for having me in this session. It was a great time.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. And then just have